evening and welcome to this edition of News Leader on 6. Today is Tuesday, June 16th, 2020. I'm Andrew Todd. In tonight's news, Tullahoma held its first George Floyd protest march on Saturday. Splash Island is reopening, and Governor Lee spoke about ending Civil War Proclamation Days. We'll have all these stories and more on tonight's News Leader on 6.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Hello, I'm Ray Noyes. This is a critical time in Tullahoma. On August the 6th, voters will have an opportunity to elect a new mayor, one who can provide proven, experienced leadership, one who knows how to get things done and keep Tullahoma moving. I recognize the value of Tullahoma's excellent school system. Our system is recognized as one of the best in the state, and I'll ensure that our schools continue at that level. I will not vote to raise property taxes in order to have a balanced budget until all other options have been exhausted. I'll work closely with our city staff to ensure that my fiscally conservative values are incorporated. Now, I've served on all city boards involved in economic development. I see that as a way that we can broaden our tax base and avoid a property tax rate increase. Some developers have had issues with our planning and codes department. I'll commit to these improvements. There'll be consistency in the instructions from planning and codes without changes from day to day. And there'll be predictable timelines for providing delivery dates for plan reviews, permits, and inspections. Timelines that will be met reliably. Now, while we can't do much about the traffic on 41A and 55, we can improve our local streets and sidewalks. And this I commit to do. So I ask for your vote for proven, experienced leadership.
Welcome back. A Tullahoma protest march to bring attention to George Floyd, a black man who died after pleading for air as white Minneapolis police officer pressed his knee on his neck, went as smoothly as hoped with no hint of violence Saturday at CD Stamps and along Highway 41A to City Hall. The protest drew approximately 500 people who marched from CD Stamps to City Hall and back to CD Stamps. Several local ministers led prayers, while at CD Stamps and Tullahoma High School alumni and former Tullahoma teacher Royce Massengill was the featured speaker at the event. Philip Scoggins and I were at the event and bring you this interview from organizer Gwen Carr.
I'm speaking with Gwen Carr, who's one of the organizers of today's event. And Gwen, very moving afternoon today, right?
Yes, it was. Thank you. Yeah, it was beautiful.
I think everything went very well, very peaceful, and a lot of things came to light that we needed to talk about. And I think that's kind of the point of this, is that?
Yes, there was information that people needed to hear, and it was easy information that came out, and I hope there's coverage.
Yeah. I believe a lot of positive can come from this. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes a negative to get a lot of positives done, but I think this was a success.
It was.
And I know you put a lot of work into this too, and we really appreciate it. Again, how do you feel it went?
I feel great about it, and the police department was very helpful.
Absolutely.
And the fire department was here with us.
Yes.
So it was nice and harmonious and unified. We had about 300 people. People got out of their cars on the side of the road and joined us.
And like you said, it's all about creating a dialogue and discussing, instead of yelling at each other, let's talk to each other, right? Isn't that kind of what the point was? Yeah. Well, Gwen, again, thank you for everything you did to help put this on, and hopefully we can get a lot of positive things out of this.
We will. There'll be more of us in the future.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
When the marchers reached City Hall, several speakers spoke to the crowd. Here's Cowan resident Terrence Martin.
Before we head back, I think it's important we have a real honest conversation. There's a reason why we came to City Hall. When those people take on those jobs to put the best interests of their constituents, then it is our obligation to hold them accountable. Right. When we are in pain, when we are hurt, and we fall on deaf ears, we cry. And when we're not heard, we cry louder and louder. And for those who are hearing a lot of the news of what I consider the nation's uprising, because there is a nation's uprising. It's about looking in the mirror. It's about saying, how do I contribute to the atmosphere of today? To everyone, to my white counterparts, this is for you. I don't expect to hold any of you accountable for what your ancestors did 400 years ago. However, I will hold you accountable as my fellow community member if you stand by and turn the other cheek while you see me and my sister oppressed, plundered, and murdered. Murdered. There is no other way to put it. You know, they have a saying that rioting is the language of the unheard. Please listen to us. Listen to us. Take a step back. Acknowledge your privilege as a white citizen in this country. Acknowledge the privilege in your education. Acknowledge your privilege in healthcare. Acknowledge your privilege when it comes to indiscriminate policing. And it doesn't just happen in New York. It doesn't just happen in Charleston, South Carolina.
Say that, brother.
It happens here. And until we realize that, we will not change for the better. And I don't know about you, but I don't just occupy space.
Right.
I am present.
Right.
And I'm present not for just me, but for him, definitely for her, definitely for him, and everyone that's around here. Now, as we go on these protests, by any means, I am not endorsing looting and rioting. I am endorsing honest conversations. Candid conversations. Right?
Yes.
It's going to be a little uncomfortable.
Right. Yes.
Right? But us black folk been uncomfortable for 400 years. 1619, the first 20 documented, first 20 black individuals came across the Atlantic Sea, the Atlantic Ocean, and landed in Fort Comfort, Virginia.
Talk to us, Terrence.
In 1619. And today, we are still bound by those chains. Now, those chains may change in what they look like.
Right.
You may call them slavery. You may call them Jim Crow.
Right.
You may call them the 13th Amendment.
All right.
But whatever the case, it's the same thing. Black and brown bodies oppressed.
Yes.
And we need you, my white brethren and sisters. We need you to stand 10 toes down. Not for you, for us.
Right.
Because we do the same for y'all.
We'll be right back with more News Leader after these messages.
You made the time and the sacrifice to broaden their horizons, to see their smiles, but mostly to make lifelong memories. We think it's time to do it again, just the two of you. Don't let illness or injury slow you down. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. Get to Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
Welcome back. Tullahoma City's water park, Splash Island, plans to open for swimmers beginning next Wednesday, June 24th. The park will be open to the first 300 swimmers from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. The pool will operate on this schedule until July 28th. After then, Splash Island will be only open on Saturdays and Sundays until Labor Day. Kurt Glick, Parks and Recreation Director, said, quote, "Splash Island has become an important part of the summer life in Tullahoma. We are pleased and excited to once again offer outdoor water recreation opportunities for 2020 under the Tennessee Pledge. Even with a modified schedule, we're happy to be able to safely provide aquatic services to Tullahoma citizens," end quote. Splash Island will operate with the modified schedule until all restrictions are completely lifted. Screening process for swimmers will be done upon entry per the Tennessee Pledge. And after these messages, we'll be right back.
I'm Philip Bourne, Stan McNabb Detail Shop Manager. Here are a few things our customers have to say about our service.
What I love most about the Stan McNabb Detail Shop is there's someone local that I can trust to pick up my car, have it cleaned, and deliver it back to me in showroom condition.
What really amazed me is when he opened the hood and looked like he had taken the old engine out and put a new engine inside.
We have several different packages and individual services to get your vehicle looking like new again. We're located just behind Stan McNabb Chevrolet dealership. Call today, schedule an appointment, and see what a difference our detail can make.
All right, the cat's out of the bag at Carroll Street Liquor in Tullahoma. Now you know where to go if you're planning a get-together and want the ideal wine or spirit. Party planning can be stressful, but at Carroll Street Liquor you'll find everything you need. Mixers, gift sets, and all of your favorite spirit brands. So if you're feeling the pressure to pull off the ideal party, come to Carroll Street Liquor and select among the seemingly endless supply of wines, spirits, gift sets, and more. Your perfect party, it's in the bag with Carroll Street Liquors.
Welcome back. COVID-19 cases continue to rise as the state allows businesses to reopen and people gather. Currently, the active cases in the state is 10,615, with 483 Tennesseans deaths, and Coffee County is up to 28 active cases. Governor Bill Lee recently addressed the rise in COVID-19 cases as the state reopens.
In the last week, we've had an uptick of those cases. It's not unexpected, given that folks are out and about much more, moving around our state. It's very important that we follow this information, this data, not only the cases that we have in our state, but the very important data point of hospital capacity. And fortunately, our hospital capacity is very stable in spite of this uptick of cases, but we will continue to track that and make sure we monitor that important data. I also want to encourage Tennesseans that one of the reasons we got to a place where we're to the place that we could open our economy in a greater way, one of the reasons is because Tennesseans did what helps to mitigate the spread of a virus like COVID-19. Washing hands, staying home when sick, getting a test, which is incredibly important for Tennesseans to remember, wearing a mask. And we have continued distribution of the free masks that we provided. The EPA, as you know, has reported and made sure that we all know that those masks are safe for Tennesseans, so we've begun the redistribution, the continued distribution of those masks. But all of those things, social distancing measures that Tennesseans have taken, have allowed us to move forward in this environment of an opened economy, it's incredibly important that Tennesseans continue to do that, continue to follow those practices so we can mitigate the spread of this virus and manage and maintain it as we go through the summer.
Governor Lee and Dr. Kimberly Lamar from the Department of Health addressed COVID-19 response and Tennessee's minority populations.
Throughout the pandemic, we have repeatedly seen how COVID-19 has exposed particularly barriers to minority communities. And we've made a great effort to be thoughtful in our approach to providing materials in our health departments in multiple languages and to engage trusted community partners so that we can provide more access to more people all across the state. Last month we worked with housing and urban development agencies in our major metropolitan areas, Memphis, Nashville, Chattanooga, Knoxville, to provide free voluntary testing to residents right in their neighborhood, particularly in an effort to serve folks who might have transportation barriers. We want to continue to build on those efforts and continue to build partnerships. I want to make a special shout out and express gratitude, especially to churches in Memphis who are actually working together to create a large testing event this weekend. Our faith communities have played an important role and continue to do so, but we're grateful for their work this weekend to especially provide more testing to the communities that they are in. We're also working with our federally qualified health clinics across the state to make sure that we provide access to more testing for our minority populations. Kimberly Lamar from Dr. Lamar from our Department of Health's Office of Minority and Health Disparity Elimination is with us today, and I've asked her to come up and say a few additional comments about our efforts to reach all Tennesseans.
During this heightened time, as we pursue justice and as we work to rebuild and recover, it's more important than ever that we maintain health in our communities. The impact of COVID has been significant on minority communities, particularly our African American communities and our Latino populations. Particularly as the heightened work that has evolved and that is needed as a result of many conversations that have been held across the state. It is pertinent that we work to ensure that health is equitable, accessible, and attainable for all Tennesseans. The Department of Health is committed to doing this work, and we are also committed to addressing and advancing health equity. Over the past 6 weeks, the Office of Minority Health and Rural Health have engaged hundreds of faith and community leaders, academic partners, and local and state government officials in the Health Disparities Task Force. This meeting of the task force occurs weekly and has revealed and uncovered many barriers, challenges, and needs of our minority populations that have hindered the ability to attain health. The task force has tackled topics on mental health, substance misuse, physical and intellectual disabilities, the needs for seniors, and most importantly, COVID testing expansion efforts. We've connected these agencies with resources and have ensured that we're moving forward to address many of these barriers. Our response has resulted in improved communications in the form of PSAs, social media and website postings, as well as infographics, and are representative of diverse communities and are responsive to the various languages, dialects, and responsive to the channels by which our diverse communities receive and share information. Testing efforts focused largely on our metro and urban communities across the state have been critical to COVID response. Our offices have coordinated testing efforts in partnership with local health departments and community-based clinical partners, such as our FQHCs and our community faith-based partners. We've been able to engage our local officials in providing testing to our multifamily housing communities and been able to pursue and continue to engage and share information relative to improving the health and awareness of the COVID positivity in those communities. In Chattanooga, large events have been held to increase access specifically to our Hispanic and Latino community. We have partnered with SIMPA, Community Care Clinic, as well as the Chattanooga Health Departments. In Nashville, the coordination and partnership of organizations such as Matthew Walker Neighborhood Health, Connect Us, and Meharry Medical College have been critical to the continued testing availability across Davidson County. The faith community, as the governor mentioned earlier, has been critical and continues to be a valued and trusted partner in the work that we're doing in terms of COVID response. June 19th and 20th, we are working collaboratively with several local churches, Mississippi Boulevard, First Baptist Broad, Divine Faith, and Mount Zion Baptist Church Parkway location in Memphis to provide community-wide testing. We are grateful for our clinical partners in Memphis to assist us in ensuring that these events are a success. More information on these events can be found on our website as well as our social media pages. Again, I want to emphasize that as we re-engage socially, as we participate in protest, as we gather together, it is more important than ever that we maintain our health, to ensure our community health. This is important to realizing the justice and the changes that we are working so hard to realize.
We'll be right back with more News Leader on 6.
Here at Stan McNabb Collision Center, we work with all major insurance companies, and we get the job done right the first time, on time.
Well, I grew up in Tullahoma. We'd always done business with Stan McNabb, so when we needed collision service after a run-in with a deer, we knew to call those guys. We already had trust with them. We called Cody. He took great care of us. He kept us posted every step of the way, and we couldn't have been more pleased.
Getting your vehicle back to pre-loss condition shouldn't be a headache. So in event of an accident, contact me, Cody Hall, at Stan McNabb Collision Center.
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family, caring for your family since 1932.
Welcome back. Governor Lee recently worked with the state legislature so he won't be proclaiming Civil War days.
This country has been in a process of transformation from day one. Ever moving toward a more perfect union, and we're still in that process. And in the last few weeks, we've had an elevated conversation, certainly around the racial reconciliation and disparities, and that progress, while we've made a lot of progress, we have a long way to go. And that progress needs to be accelerated, and we'll take steps in that direction. I want to be a part of that process. This bill that lessens the height of the proclamation of this particular day that's particularly painful to African Americans, that's an important step forward. I'm glad that they made it.
Do you think it goes far enough?
I think we're in a process. In this country, and I'm grateful for steps in the right direction. You know, I think that it's really important that we have more dialogue and not less. And so quick, we're so quick to draw lines and choose sides, and dialogue stops when that happens. And so any Tennessean, and I think it's been especially made aware even in the last several weeks, that we all need to engage in more dialogue. I think we've had a lot of opportunity in the last few weeks to have dialogue, to learn from one another, and I believe we have an opportunity for movement in the right direction. As I said, this country has never stopped in its movement in the right direction, and we cannot stop now. In fact, we should accelerate that movement in the right direction. Dialogue, whether it occurs in the legislature, in the public square, I know for myself, having conversations with my family, with my friends, with law enforcement, with black leaders across this state, dialogue has taught me that there are no complicated answers. There are no easy answers. The answers are complicated, but it doesn't diminish the value of those dialogues that will actually allow us to move forward that should happen. It should happen on the floor of the legislature. I think there have been examples where it has happened in the legislature, even this past week. But I would encourage all of us. We're at a place in America that we're in a unique spot. We're not in a unique spot in that change is happening because it's been happening since we began as a nation. But we're in a particular spot where a particular issue has been elevated, and we need to have more dialogue around that. And I look forward to being a part of that.
And don't forget to tune in to this week's Living Show tonight at 6:30 p.m., Thursday morning at 9 a.m., and Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evenings at 6:30 p.m. This week's guests include singer-songwriter Randy Fincham, who will be performing at South Jackson Goes Country. We'll speak with some representatives of the local NAMI group, and we'll have some expanded coverage from this past weekend's George Floyd March in Tullahoma. We'll have all that and more on this week's Living. And stay with us. We'll have your weather forecast right after these messages.
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron and chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
We're losing it, Doctor.
Not on my shift. Quickly, brush. Roller.
What a transformation. It's going to be okay.
Okay, nothing.
At Paintworks of Tullahoma, we specialize in domestic emergencies with Martin Senior Paints. You can be the paint doctor, too, when you treat your home with Martin Senior interior and exterior finishes.
Doctor, we've got another one.
Got you covered.
Paintworks of Tullahoma. Come see the paint doctor, Stat.
Welcome back. We'll take a look at your weather forecast at this moment, starting with your weather history on this date. Our record high was in 1918 at 98 degrees. The record low was 1917 at 43 degrees. Average high on this day is 85 and the average low is 63. Mostly clear for tonight's weather with a low of 55. Mostly sunny on Wednesday with a high of 79 and a low of 59. And partly cloudy skies on Thursday with a high of 81 and a low of 63. And in closing, it was announced today that local businessman Eugene London has just thrown his hat into the Tullahoma mayoral race as a write-in candidate. We'll have an update on Thursday's news. And we thank you for watching News Leader on 6. Join us each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6, 8, and 10 for News Leader on 6. Stay safe and have a great evening.